Hi, we're on. We are on, we are on, we are on. Oh my goodness. Good morning, everyone. Yeah, I'm not in studio. No, I'm not in studio. I'm not on the field. I'm home. I'm home. And I just want to take a moment to thank everyone who would have been touched or inspired in one way or the other by the addicted spoken word that I had posted roughly a month and a half ago thereabout. You know, hi, morning Trisha. So there are many people who I am sure would have wondered why I had, why go so far, why reach out so far, and put yourself out there, expose yourself, as they say, with such well, it's not details so much, but you get the idea from the spoken word addicted, that it was about my life and some of the things and the trials that I've been through that many people may not have known. There are some that would have, but it's something that I tried my best to suppress. I tried to run from my demons as fast as I could. But the funny thing about trying to run from demons is that we have to understand that they run in this race thousands of years now. So when you try to run from them, sometimes you find yourself running out of road. And that's what happened to me. I ran out of road. And I had to do some retrospecting, because the one way to defeat a demon is that you have to come to a point where you're running to God, so that He can give you the wisdom to stand up and confront them. Now, we hear this saying all the time, and I mean, just to go back a bit, when I had first posted the video, I honestly didn't know what the reaction would have been, because people are accustomed to seeing me in one light, in a particular frame, whether it be at Win or Axe now, in terms of media. But I think it surprised a lot of people. People know me as someone who's very artistic, and in terms of my writing and so forth. But to see me do something like that, it threw some people a bit. But it has the whole concept of drama and theater and art, everything has been part of my life. So God really put it in my spirit to do this, and I'm in this particular forum, so people will know my story and be inspired. All right. So we hear this saying all the time that we have one life to live, right? But that, how that phrase was coined, is a much greater, or should I just say greater per se, but I would like to add something to that. And, because the enemy wanted to think that that is a correct term, or it is coined properly. But the thing is, there's something much more wealthier into, if you're clearly with coined, that it is said that we have one life to live. But I've come to the realization that we have the chance at a second life to live right. Let me say that again. People say we have one life. The world tells you that we have one life to live. But in actuality, we have a chance at a second life to live right. And that is where my salvation began. Actually, the end of this year, make it 5 years since I've stopped drinking. But even more so, since I received Jesus Christ into my heart. Now, some would say, was the journey easy? No, but it was worth it. And I was listening to a sermon recently where, and we hear it all the time in different forms, nothing that comes easy is worthy. And a lot of people were asking, look, when I had left Win, and I decided to pursue my walk There were those who like asked me if I was crazy, because for those who don't know, and I mean, there are going to be more videos coming after this, so I'm not going to say everything now. But for those who don't know, when I left Win not knowing where I was going to work. I left Win and I gave back everything to the company, including the car that I was afforded to use as the head of news there. And people thought, not everybody, but there were those who thought, yo, what are you doing? And I remember one particular person, a very good friend of mine, you know, she was asking me at Windsurf, she's like, yo, I admire your faith, but you know, you now start this work, and there are people who, you know, and with tears in my eyes, I looked at her and I said, you know, if God was there for me when I didn't even know him, and he kept his hand over my life even when I didn't know him, now that I am taking this step of faith and this leap of faith to pursue my theology studies and to take it to the next level as how God intended it to, then therefore I should trust him even more now. Because when I was in darkness, he was there and he kept me. So now that I'm walking in his light, I am guaranteed of his protection. And I saw in the first 3-4 months of, that would be, there's a year, well, that would be 2015, yeah, 2016, sorry, right, first 4 months, 2016, which was last year, first 4 months, I saw God move in words can't explain. To make a long story short, I went from having no car to getting a vehicle without even initially having to pay for it. And you know, in that 4 months I started working again, and that 4 months I was able to provide for my family. They were never without. My wife, my children, they were never without. And I didn't go begging or asking for anything. It just happened. People just came. And you know, there are those who might be saying, Sheldon, boy, you know, you, because of who you are and because of how much you've achieved in terms of media, what you're doing, boy, you're out there, you give up everything. Actually, even when I had just stopped drinking, I remember I had told a relative of mine that I was going on a particular radio program. This would have been God St. Clair's program. This was like about going into 7 or 8 months after being saved and so forth. And I told them I was going on the radio station to talk about, you know, my addiction and that kind of thing. And they asked me, you know, you're going to lose everything. You're going to lose your career. They were very concerned. You're going to lose your career. You're going to, you know, those who supported you, they're going to walk away from you. And I looked at her with love, and I told her, I was like, if I, you know, she was concerned that I was, you know, exposing myself, but I had to let her know that I wasn't exposing myself. I was actually exposing the enemy. I was exposing the devil for what I allowed him to do to my life. And if I cannot let the world know that I am free, and I cannot let the world know who God is, not because of what we see, but because of what he did. You know, we look at the word of God, and some of us can't relate to it because we don't allow the word of God to get into us. And I allowed the word of God to get into me. And because of that, I exposed him, not me. I exposed him. And I told her, I said, if I cannot do that, then therefore I'm a hypocrite. I'm a hypocrite to what God has done in my life and what he continues to do. Because it's a daily, and what I've been allowing myself to do lately, because as I get deeper and deeper into ministry, and I see a friend of mine, you know, typing wow, because, you know, some of them would have known me from my days drinking and wilding out and the woman, you name it. And I've seen God did a work in my life and continues, not just for me, but for my wife and for my children. There's a time I didn't think, you know, I didn't think we would make it this far. But God. And so for those out there who are listening, I mean, there's so much more to say. I can't say everything in this. I want to call this my first live, not just, not in relation to any particular show or episode or nothing. It is about me. Intimate details, unedited, uncensored, uncut. But just let people know that do not allow your past to dictate your future, in the concept that there was a point in time where I thought that if I had gone public, this was in the first few months before I did it, I was concerned. But this much I would say though: go back to the Bible, the foundation of our faith. And I want us to look at some of the so-called unqualified men that God used for great work. Let's look at Moses. Moses was let's look at it from this perspective. Moses was a murderer. Moses was, you have Noah, who was a drunkard. We have David, who was an adulterer. We had Peter. We had all of these individuals. None of them were considered by world standards worthy to follow God. And God used them. The thing is, God meets you where you are. And God met me where I was. God met me where I was. And He started a new work in me. Right? He started a work in me. And that work continues daily. I continue to grow daily. I continue to magnify His name daily. And I just want to encourage everyone who's listening today. There are even some people who were wondering, how do you do this walk? How do you walk this walk with all the the different attacks against the faith? And that faith I'm referring to is as a believer. I do this walk like how we walk in the natural. 1 foot at a time. 1 foot, 1 foot at a time, and 1 day at a time. And with every step I take, I'm strengthened, I'm motivated, I'm encouraged. So again, this is just the first one. I want to say thank you again for it is just over 1,000 views of the addicted video. I want to say thank you. I want to say for all those who were inspired, continue. There are going to be more videos coming, because this is ministry from me, or part of it. There's a lot more to be done, and you're going to see more of my life being, we're going to be unfolding through these different videos, whether it be spoken word, whether it be just basic poetry, whether it be visual art. You're going to see it unfolding, right? It's all part of something that I'm working on. And I just wanted to thank you for all my family and friends, my wife, my children, for their support, my colleagues in the media, particularly my former newsroom. Love you guys. Really, really love you guys. Because funny enough, I really want to wrap this up. Funny enough, what I love about my former newsroom quickly is that even though some of them, it's not their walk per se, they respected it, and I love them deeply for that, because that's not something you always get. They respect it even though it may not be their walk, and I continue to keep them in prayer. There are some who, when you're going through this process, and there are times you have to go into that secret place with God and shut everything else out and shut the world out. And there are times I would have had to do that, and still have to do that. And some people may not understand that and thinking that you're pulling away. No, we're not pulling away. We are not pulling away. What we are doing is going into that secret place to be fueled by the Word of God, to be fueled by His revelation, and then come back now and allow God to use us to light a fire in the world that is needed right now. Because if we do not speak about the greatness of God, if the church does not get up and stop playing church, and I say this quite often, and I'm going to end here. And this is why I have been very vocal about, and in this next step, the church is like a gas station. That's the physical building. It's a gas station. When you go into a gas station, you get fueled up. You get fueled up so you can drive your car. You don't fuel up your car for it to park up in your garage, right? Because if you do that, then the car will seize up. Then the car will not be able to move. Then the car will just cease to exist in terms of what it's supposed to do. That is what happens to many believers today. They go to church on a Sunday, and then when come Monday, we don't drive the word of God home. If you don't drive the word of God home Monday to Saturday, then you are of no use to the kingdom. Forget the naysayers and the doubters and whoever. If it's one thing, and this is where the next video I'm going to talk about it, about my encounter. I had 2 encounters, right? 2, well, I had many, sorry. But the initial encounters, I had 2 before I got saved. I'll talk about that next video. And people can say what about Jesus Christ? But if there's one thing nobody could take from me, is the encounters I had with God. Because God knew my heart and He knew I wanted to change. My encounters, you can say what, you could never, ever take away the encounters I had with God. You might try to use all kind of scientific jargon or all kind of things to try and explain it, but in the end you'll be sitting down asking yourselves, how did that happen? You only have the encounter when you allow God to speak to you. So on that note, I want to say thanks again. It was nice. I say this is my first live, not promoting any show, not promoting any episode, or nothing like that, but promoting Jesus Christ, because He needs some promotion. God needs some promotion right now in Trinidad and Tobago, and I'm going to use my platform to do that as best as I can. And I want to thank everyone again. I love you. God's blessings. I'll be coming again with another one. The next one will be about the encounters I had with God, and be ready to be amazed at what God does. Because when I tell people who are not even saved about the encounters, particularly the first one, they are literally their jaw drop, because it's in the natural sense, it doesn't make sense. And let me tell you something, yeah? And truly, to understand God, we cannot lean on our own understanding. We have to let Him take over our minds. And when I say take over, allow Him to download what is needed for us to truly fulfill our fullest potential in Him, through Him. We have to allow Him to lead. Alright? So take care of yourselves. And I'll be back tomorrow with another live. And I hope you have a wonderful day. It's kind of warm out here. Yeah, but that's alright. It's all for good. It's all for God. God's blessings. Bye.